Hello, everybody, and welcome, possibly welcome back to the fourth episode of the Red Pill Show. I'm your host, Theo Lanham, and I'm sorry about skipping the Saturday episode. I had some family stuff to deal with, but today we're going to jump right into it and talk about open discussion and open conversation. And I think this is a really, really important topic in today's day and age, because if you look at the United States specifically, it is so divided and so split right down the middle, and it's because people pick one side and then people pick the other, and they get so set in their ways that they don't want to change their mind, and anything that's not theirs or what they agree with is wrong. And you hear this a lot, and unfortunately it's really, really toxic, because you've got it just creates this mentality of it's either right or wrong, black and white, black and white. You know, like if you're a liberal, you hate Trump. And if you're a conservative, you hate Pelosi. It's just how it works. But in reality, at the end of the day, that's not how it should work. Everybody should like something that Trump does. You don't have to like him as a person, but you should like something that he does because he has made liberal decisions. And every conservative should like something that Pelosi has done because she has made conservative decisions. Every politician ever has made decisions on both sides of the scale. So it's never a black and white when they're in office. It's a little bit of both. And obviously, the party that they affiliate with, yes, it does outweigh the other, but at the same time, you know, it's not, it is really unhealthy to just look at something and shut it down right away. You know, and so many people do that, especially with Trump. You know, I hear so many people, and like I said, I'm not going to get into my politics. This is just me talking as an example. I hear so many people say like, oh, I hate him. And then, you know, you bring up one thing that he does and people are like, oh yeah, that was pretty good though. You know, so you don't hate everything he does, but yeah, you don't agree with the party he affiliates and most of the things he does. But I agree to some extent with every politician because they've all done something that I agree with personally, you know, and it's not because I affiliate with one party or the other. It's just something I personally agree with. And I think putting labels on it is also pretty toxic because as soon as you put labels on something, like I said, it becomes black and white, black and white. When in reality, the bipartisan system in the United States, it really is bad because it's so dividing. And at the end of the day, only two parties are represented. And that's not what our founding fathers wanted. They wanted all these different voices to be heard. And that brings us to open conversation. You know, open conversation, obviously it begins with thinking for yourself. It doesn't mean thinking with what the news tells you, with what your parents tell you, with what you see on your phone, any of what you learn in school, any of that bullshit. It's none of that. All it is gathering that information that you get from those other places and taking out the language in either the news, the radio, TV, whatever on your phone, taking out the language that gives something a negative or positive connotation, which basically means taking out the words that put it in a bad or good light, and taking just the bare information and deciding for yourself. And you know, obviously, if everybody thought like that, we wouldn't have a bipartisan system. And on both sides of any argument, not just politics, you know, most people are so set in their ways these days that they don't want to change their mind. As soon as somebody says something that they don't agree with, they just shut it down. They just shut down automatically. I'm not going to listen. I'm not going to gather any information from you. I'm not going to learn. And that's how we get stuck. That's why we're stuck right now, is because nobody wants to learn from the other side. And instead of, you know, shutting it down right away and saying, oh, I hate Hillary Clinton because she's a liberal, how about, oh, Clinton's done some okay things, and I don't agree with most of what she's done, but she's done some okay things, so I'm not going to say I hate Clinton, but I will say I disagree with most of what she does. And it's the same thing. If you and I are having a discussion, and I don't agree with what you say, but you bring up a fact or something that makes me go like, huh, damn, maybe I'm wrong. I'm not going to sit here and I'm not going to keep going, oh, no, you're wrong. But when you have a statistic sitting in my face, I'm going to look at it, and if it changes my mind, it changes my mind. And everybody needs to be willing to change their mind in light of new information, Because if you're not willing to change your mind, you're never going to understand other people. You're never going to understand other points of view. You're never going to understand why people think the way they do and why people work the way they do. And that's very important in today's world. If you know how people work, if you know what's going on in their head, you're going to have a big advantage in today's world. And part of that, like I said, is understanding why people think the way they do, why people believe in the things they believe in, say the things they say. And part of that comes from listening, because people, when they are talking, will say why they feel a certain way. People, when they're talking, will say, these are the statistics. And if they don't have any, then that's just how they feel. And you don't necessarily have to listen to that. But if they're bringing up statistics and stuff, and the statistics are blatantly, negating what you say, then you can't just look a statistic in the face and say it's wrong. And I see so many people do that nowadays, and it really pisses me off because you're just it's a true fact, and you're saying it's wrong just because you don't agree with it, and that's not okay, because that just means you're so closed-minded and so unwilling to progress and change your mind that you're just going to be stuck with the same point of view that you had when you were 13 years old. Do you really want to have the same point of view that you had when you're 13 when you're 45, working in an office or trying to get that promotion? No, of course not. You want to be open to change. You want to be open to new ideas. You want to be open to hearing other people out. And if you're a liberal and you're arguing with a conservative or having an open discussion, don't sit there and say, oh, you're a racist, oh, you're homophobic, any of that. If they're not saying anything racist or homophobic, that's just they align themselves with the conservative party. But that doesn't mean they're racist, doesn't mean they're homophobic. And the only reason people say that is because, they don't want to hear the other side of the argument because they don't agree with it. Same thing. Conservatives do the same thing. Conservatives will say liberal and they'll be like, oh, you're a snowflake, oh, you're soft, you're so PC. But if they're not saying anything that's, promoting 100% PC culture, and they're not saying anything that's, is soft, they're just saying how they feel, then sit there and listen to it. Don't judge it. But at the same time, be open to learning from them, because they might know something that you don't, and you might not know something that they don't. And when they're talking, don't listen to respond. Listen to actually absorb information. Don't sit there thinking of all the ways you can come back and make their argument invalid. Sit there and listen. Absorb the information. Learn a little bit. Take some new facts with you, anything like that. Try to understand where they're coming from. Try to understand why they think that way. And maybe you'll come out with a different perspective. Maybe you'll change your mind a little bit. And that's okay. Changing your mind's okay. We are evolving creatures. We have the power to reason, and with that comes our power to evolve who we are as we keep going on. We're not going to be the same animal our entire lives. We evolve, and that's what part of what sets humans out different than other animals, is that we keep growing and other animals stay the same, have the same desires, wants their entire lives. We don't. We change. And I think that's really important. And I think by throwing that away, we're throwing away one of our gifts as a human being. We're throwing away something that does set us apart from every other animal. It makes us special, makes us unique. It's why we have houses and stuff like that. It's why we're not out there hunting for food every single day. And, it's just, the open conversation is so important because, like I said, that's how we progress. That's how we keep going. And if we all stay set in our own ways, nobody's ever going to change. And middle ground is the key. Meeting that common ground as a society, trying to make get everybody in there a little bit at least, trying to find that common ground is perfect. Because common ground is what makes the world go around, We can't all get 100% of what we want, or else we'd all be kings of the world. That's just unrealistic. There's 7 billion of us. So we have to compromise. And compromise is okay. There's nothing wrong with it. It just means you're not going to get 100% of what you want, but you're going to get a little bit of what you want instead of not anything. So settle with it, And if, let's say, 2020 election is coming up, if this next president, I don't care who gets elected, for the sake of the video, I don't care, but if it is somebody of the opposing party, or somebody that you hear all, I hate, and you've been saying I hate, and you don't know anything about politics, watch them. And try to find one or two things that you agree with that they do, because I guarantee you will. You know, if you like, and learning from all these people that know different things, that's what makes us beautiful as a culture. So try to keep open conversation, keep encouraging open conversation, go out there, talk about your political views, but don't let anybody shut it down. Try to encourage, actually talking back and forth, bouncing ideas one off each other, making sure your argument is good during it, and trying to learn a little bit from them. That's a beautiful, beautiful thing. That's how we grow, and that's how we'll come together even more as a society. And that has nothing to do with any background or anything, because anybody can have a conversation. Anybody. So go out there and promote that. Go out there and, try to have that back and forth, but learn. And don't just, try to bring each other down the whole time. Don't try. Just try to give each other new information. See it like that. It's not an argument. It's just a conversation. So go out there, and I'm going to wrap the video up now because we're getting near 15 minutes, I believe. And so a little bit of homework for you guys this week. If you guys are still watching to this point, I would encourage you to go have at least one discussion. Doesn't have to be political, but with somebody that disagrees with you on something, and try to learn something from them. Please leave in the comments what you learned from somebody else or what discussion you have with somebody else. I really want to know. And like, comment, share, and subscribe so we can reach more people out there. The Red Pill Show is a movement, ladies and gentlemen. And thank you guys for watching. I love you all so much. And I'll catch you guys back here in 2 days for episode 5. Be safe.